Hypermine.
G'day fellow miners and welcome back to the Hypermine server. This is episode 7 in my Hypermine series. My name is Armitage. And today, what are we going to do today? We are going to do something sort of fairly historic. I'm going to go down to the fusion chamber where we were last episode. And if you remember, I had set up the these igneous extruders and recyclers and had these routers doing various things, feeding things backwards and forwards. Ugh, there's a magma cube out here, just hopping under the lava. This is one thing I didn't really expect to be very annoying, but it is anyway. So I'd mirrored the setup on the other side. Then I went ahead and I finished off the fusion reactor itself, which you can barely see. It's way in there, like right in the heart of this crazy looking setup. I then set up the fuel generation so that the fusion reactor takes two types of compounds and it fuses them together to make one. So in this case it takes deuterium cells and helium-3 cells and it fuses them and it makes helium cells, and in that process it generates tons and tons of power. To be precise, 32,768 EU per tick, lots and lots, in other words. So you have to generate this fuel, and that is done via a couple of processes. The first one is back here. There's this industrial electrolyzer, and what this is doing is it's taking water, which I'm pumping from my water tank in the crucible, through a liquid tesseract into the... So there's a liquid tesseract. Oh, if we can get up here. So there's the liquid tesseract, which is pumping water into the this industrial electrolyzer. I'm powering it with my cheaty magic energy absorber and my golden boots of forever giving 128 EU per tick. And I'm feeding tin cells or empty cells from my ME storage system upstairs via this, or up in the crucible via this item tesseract. And I'm creating hydrogen cells, which are then fed into, they're fed into the ME system and then they're immediately fed back into these industrial centrifuges on either side here. So there's two of these and they are centrifuging these hydrogen cells. If we go into the recipes and we find hydrogen cells, there we go. As you can see, 4 hydrogen cells in 150 seconds will make 1 deuterium cell and 3 empty cells. So I have 2 of these, so they're creating every 150 seconds they are creating 2 deuterium cells, and then I have 3 other industrial centrifuges here just getting empty cells and end stone dust fed to them, and these are creating the helium. These are creating the helium-3, which is the other compound that the fusion reactor requires. And I need to make 3 of these, or I need to have 3 of these working, because if we find the end stone recipe, and I do apologise for being in UIs all the time, but it's only for the start of this this episode. That was it. So end stone produces helium-3. It also produces helium cells, tungsten dust and sand as byproducts. The helium cells I could centrifuge as well. You can centrifuge those into helium-3 cells as well. So 16 helium cells will create a helium-3 cell. I haven't really bothered with that because I may want to keep those helium cells And the reason I may want to keep those helium cells is because I could be possibly getting into making nuclear reactors again. Even though I've got the fusion reactor is purely for me to power a matter fabricator. Now I'm going to pop out for a second because the server's going to restart in a minute, and for a scheduled restart. And once the server has restarted, I will be back. So please stay tuned. Okay guys, we are back from the server restart, and we're going to continue on with our little discussion about the crazy fusion reactor. Yeah, so I'm creating the fuel for the fusion reactor using this little setup here, and this is more than enough to create enough fuel. This will consume one each deuterium and helium-3 every 2048 ticks, which is roughly about 110 seconds, or 101 seconds, I believe. And this will produce one deuterium every 75 seconds and one helium-3 every, I want to say 80 seconds. I think it is, yeah, 80 seconds. Yeah, it's 240 seconds all up. So I'm actually producing a minor surplus of both of these, and I already have a large stockpile, as you can see by the wonderful control panel I have here. Very sexy, I think very sexy. So the fuel is covered, and there's no way I reckon I'll run out of fuel before you know, the end of the world. And then I also have up here, I have a couple of fabricators, which are the auto crafting tables, the best auto crafting tables in the game from Zycraft. Just amazing. All they need is an inventory next to them. You program in the recipe that you want the fabricator to reproduce, and it just does it automatically when there's stuff in the inventory. Right now you can see I'm using this ME interface with an export config to have to always have X amount of cobblestone in the system and in the interface, and 3 cobblestone obviously to make a slab, 9 scrap to make scrap box. And a big thank you to his YouTube channel name is Trickshotters Elite. He left a tip for me in my last episode, or episode 5, sorry, which was just released recently. I'm a bit behind on releases for these. I've got a couple more videos to put together. He left a tip to craft my cobblestone into slabs, because it will actually double the amount of scrap I get from my cobblestone, which was brilliant. It means that I don't have to run this stuff all the time. I've actually put in ME level emitters on the these routers which are taking the cobblestone out, and you'll notice that I've got it set to scrap boxes in the system. It might sound a bit strange, but once the scrap boxes drop below a certain level, this will start producing cobblestone again, or it'll start removing cobblestone again from these igneous extruders. Same with this side. And then the cobblestone will get crafted into half slabs. The half slabs will go into the recyclers, and the recyclers will generate scrap, and the scrap will go into the ME interface and then get crafted into scrap boxes. And this is the only storage of scrap boxes that I have, just this inventory in this fabricator. Back here we have an unnecessary deep storage unit. I was storing scrap and just need to break that as well, and cobblestone in deep storage, but I really don't need a huge surplus. I had 200,000 cobblestone and 150,000 scrap, and I've since gotten rid of all of that and streamlined the system down a bit. You can see This is what's in this ME system at the moment. This ME system is powered by magic energy converters, and I'm using nether stars to power those. People keep... I posted a comment on somebody else's video, I think it was Rubyzone, that he said he was going to try and put my shop out of business, and I said good luck, because I've got constantly got 9 stacks of nether stars. People ask me how. I think I mentioned it in the last episode. I think I show the nether star fabricator in the last episode, which is awesome because I can run these things independently and have every scrap of power produced by this pumped straight into a matter fabricator, which we're going to get to do very shortly after I do a little bit more explaining. Now, I've got a lever here. I wish there was a more space-aged version of levers in this game. But there isn't. That lever is connected to a redstone torch, which is powering this wireless transmitter. That wireless transmitter is transmitting that redstone signal to this wireless receiver here, which is breaking this splitter. This is like a cable that's designed to cut power when it has redstone signal applied to it. So the IDSU is not emitting power into the fusion reactor, because it's all the fusion reactor is waiting for is enough power to kick off the reaction, to start the fusion reaction, which is 60 million EU. So it'll need 60 million EU, then it'll start to consume the fuel and generate 32,000 EU per tick, I believe it is. 32,768, I think, is the thing, which is what we want to feed into our matter fabric. 2,048 ticks, and if you multiply 2,048 by 32,768, you get 67,108,864. So yeah, 108,864 EU. So that's the output every 2,000 ticks. And if we do the math for that, 2048 divided by 20, that's every 102 seconds it produces 67 million EU. So you can see that this is a very, very, very good means of producing power. It is, in fact, the highest in the game. There is nothing that compares. If you wanted to do it with ultimate hybrids, you'd need a stack of ultimate hybrids, 64 ultimate hybrids, to do the same job as a single fusion reactor. And once you've got one fusion reactor, it's very easy to make a second one, because you can convert the UU matter that is generated at a massive rate into titanium quite easily, which is the harder substance to get. So what we're going to do now is we are going to take our GregTech sensor card and our matter fabricator. We're going to pop our matter fabricator into its little cradle here. So it's getting contacted on 4 sides by these super condensators. Ooh, how did I get 2% power already, or 2%? That must be some kind of a little bit of a bug, or there might have been maybe some residual power in these things somehow. So as you can see, it's getting scrap boxes fed into it from this import bus down below. And there's an export bus here which will remove the helium and... remove the UU matter. Helium. That's what that bus is for, to remove the helium and empty cells from the fusion reactor. So all we need to do now is wait for this to get up to 60 million. As you can see, it is on 20 million now. I'm going to apply this GregTech sensor card, and we get out... I think this is going to be out of range, actually. And I only want those displayed. Yeah, I think that's out of range. So I'm going to go up and quickly get a range upgrade. I have 7 there. Go back to our fusion chamber, pop our range, and that should be displaying. It's not displaying anything. Maybe because it's on 0% and hasn't updated yet. Or well, it's showing 2%, but anyway, we'll see what happens. This should display a percentage, basically. I should be able to whiz upstairs or back up to the top and see what I've got this one set on. Yeah, it's just a secondary, and it's a GregTech sensor card that we want. Back to the fusion chamber. Okay, I also have a wireless. You'll see a wireless receiver here, pointed at the matter fabricator. Now, what that does is, while that is on, the fusion reactor will not output power, and that is controlled by this fellow here, this block here, which is what they call a range trigger. Now, this looks complicated, but it isn't really. Now, what a range trigger does is you can see it's got an energy sensor location card in it, which is made with by attaching an energy sensor to any storage system, and this is attached to the fusion reactor. And what it does is it senses how much power is in it, and you have a high threshold and a low threshold. I might actually increase the high threshold to 70 million. So what will happen is this system will not emit a redstone signal until it gets over 70,000. Then it will begin to emit a redstone signal, which will turn the torch off on the side here. 70 million is what I meant. It will turn that torch off on the side, which is powering this transmitter, which is in turn powering this receiver, which is stopping the fusion reactor from outputting power. It still generates power, it just won't output any power to the IDSU and the matter fabricator. So once the fusion reactor gets above 70 million EU stored in it, it will emit a redstone signal, which will turn the torch off, which will turn this transmitter off, turning the receiver off, and allowing the fusion reactor to emit power. So it'll start emitting energy, and it'll emit energy into both the matter fabricator. Oh God, brain just failing, and also into the IDSU until the IDSU fills up, of course. So this is kind of like a safety feature that will stop, which is going to stop the fusion reactor from dropping below 60 million EU, which is the power required to fire up the reaction. So if, God forbid, anything happens, things stop working for some reason, the fuel stops being produced, the system runs out of fuel, it will stop this fusion reactor from emitting power when it hits 70 million EU. So when it goes below 70 million EU, it'll stop emitting power, and then, or is it below 60 million? We might actually make that 61 million, just in case. Yeah, I think if it drops below 61 million, we might make it a bit bigger actually. Let's make it 65 million. So when it drops below 65 million, this will stop emitting redstone, which will turn the torch on the side, which will cut power from the fusion reactor. So it's a bit of a secondary safety safety system, so that we don't lose power from the reactor for too long. Enough power to get it to fire up again should fuel stop flowing for some reason. It's highly unlikely that it will, but it's always best to be safe with this. And even if it does go below 60 million, I can feed power from the IDSU back into the fusion reactor via this lever. So if I pull this lever, you'll immediately see that, ooh, what do we get? Suddenly, I bet you it's, yeah, mining fatigue. That's from my super high thingamawhat's it. Why is it not accepting power? Or is it just that these aren't... Oh, okay, the panels are bugged. Hang on, I'll just... Yeah, you can see the panels are bugged out. And I think I need to break these, unfortunately. So just bear with me and I'll be back in a minute once I have sorted these panels out. Ooh. Okay, they're sorted out. You can see now that the IDSU is going down slowly. It's outputting extreme voltage 2048 EU per tick, and the reactor is going up. So what will happen is the reactor, when it hits 60 million EU, it will start to consume our it'll start to consume our fuel. You can see it going up. It's pretty slow. It's going to take a little while, so we might have a bit of a discussion and then take a break and wait for this to get closer to 60 million. So it'll start consuming the fuel. This little thing will go yellow. A little progress bar will pour across here, and then eventually it'll output empty cells and helium cells. As you can see here, this is the recipe I am using. Its ignition cost, this is called, is 60 million EU. It outputs 32,768 EU per tick, and it runs, each cycle runs for 20 for 2,000. Perhaps it'll change when it actually gets some power. So we're up to 21 million. The fusion reactor will store 100 million EU before you actually start to essentially waste EU, because the reaction will continue even if the fusion reactor is full of power. So this is why we want to consume all of the power that it's generating. Just going to have a sip of my beverage. Yeah, you can see now these level emitters are off because the system has less than 576, I think it is, scrap in it, or less than 9 stacks of scrap. So the system is now producing cobble again, feeding the cobble slabs to our centrifuges, which are getting the scrap sucked out of them and getting converted in this fellow here into scrap boxes again. You can see as 9 fed into this ME, it makes a little pattern on top and creates a scrap box. So this is filling up, and once that gets full, this system should recover again and fill up with these will stop producing cobble once this hits the maxed out mark again. What are we sitting at? 23,000. So what I might do is I might take a quick break while this builds up, and then I will come back when it hits 60 million and we'll see the reaction begin. Silly ghasts. Alright, we're very close now. 59 million. Should be very, very shortly. It will, as soon as it hits 60 million, it will consume all this EU, and then it will fire up the reaction and start power generation, and you'll see it go up very quickly. Here we go. Bam! There we go. Look how quick that is. Alright, so now we want to cut off the IDSU so that it's no longer draining power into the system. So that should be standing still and holding its power level. Yep. And this should be going up very rapidly. As you can see, it's going up extremely rapidly. 6 million. Once this hits 70 million, this light should come on and it should start to power both the matter fabricator and our IDSU, or it should start to fill up our IDSU. But there you go, 10 million, 12 million, 13. See how quickly it's outputting power. And you can see this little bar is advancing along. 17 million. I'm not sure why it's doing that. It's flashing to like negative 5,000, but it must be just a little UI bug. Oh, a little bit of lag occurring. Somebody might have just logged in, I think. Nope, world save. 20 million. So this should get to about 60 million when this gets to about here, because it will generate from one cycle, it will generate 67 million. So a little bit before it finishes its first cycle, it'll have regenerated that power that it spent to actually start the reaction. So yeah, this gets over, I think it's, once it gets over 70 million, it will start to feed power into the matter fabricator, and we'll see this rapidly climb, and we will see UU matter generate very quickly. Now the UU matter I have pumping out of this export bus, along with a few of the what do you call them? Additional ingredients created by the fuel generation, so some compressed air, tin, sand and tungsten. I've got the UU matter going into my ME network input tesseract, item tesseract. So where are we at? 45 million. See how quick that is going? It's just absolutely close enough. Ooh, I want to be careful that I don't get too close. 49, 50 million nearly. This is awesome. I love it. Awesome. 51 million. So I think, as I said, it will get to 70 million. This light will come on, and then it will start to output power into the matter fabricator and into the IDSU. 55. 56. We might pop quickly upstairs. We'll grab an EU reader. EU. There we go. Just so that we can see what sort of power is going, because it won't be, first up, it won't be the full amount of power going into the matter fabricator. As you can see at the moment, it is getting 0. Just want to get an empty hand, I think. 66 million. And there we go. It just finished its first cycle, and it's put in another bit of fuel. And we hit 70 million, and I believe this light comes on. Yep. So the light has come on, It's saying feed power to the what was that? To the yep. So we can see this is climbing very rapidly. This is holding steady at 70 odd thousand, but it will lose. It will go backwards a little bit, and it'll hit 65,000. Then it'll shut off again, and it will wait until it gets back over 70,000 to turn back on again. So there we have it, guys. The fusion reactor up and running. It's filling this, as you can see, at a rate of about well, it's EV. You can see here it's getting 2 kilovolts in, or 2 kilo EU per tick, and outputting 2 kilo EU per tick. Or it's 2048 realistically. So it's sitting. Oh, it's already made a UU matter. So there you go. That's how quick this reaction is. So it's already consumed it's already generated a UU matter. This count is still going up. So the system is still generating scrap boxes. This will be consuming scrap boxes. I want to actually put a piece of glass here just so that I can't actually get inside there, because as I said, if you get anywhere near that superconductor wire, you are dead. Alright, so let's have a look and see what level of power the so it's 26,000. Well, now it's getting 32,768, so it's actually getting the full whack, and this is still getting, oh, of course, yeah, because the reactor's generating, the reactor's generating 32,000 EU per tick, or 32,768 EU per tick, but you can see it's the level is slowly sort of draining away, because I'm drawing an extra 2048 off the stored power via this system here. So still amazing. I mean, this thing will generate UU matter like crazy. You can see how quickly it's going up. I think it's generated like 3 or 4 already in the last few minutes. So what we actually want to do is we want to go up to the top again. We're going to change this because I'm going to take down this matter fabricator and all the engines and free that space up to do something else. So we don't really need this matter fabricator anymore. You can see it's gone up quite considerably, the amount of UU matter I've got in here. Just check that. It should be getting like 1 UU every couple of minutes. Anyway, we're going to change this. We're going to take this GregTech sensor card out. We'll reclaim our circuits. Whoops. Come on. Anytime you like. It doesn't seem to be getting any extra UU matter. Oh, there we go. 164. Oh, so, that might have been from that though. Anyway, we'll put these back in. We'll get another GregTech sensor kit, which we can just craft like thus. We'll go down. We'll need, I think, more range upgrades for this display panel. So we'll go down. I hope this is. It's definitely not keeping the matter in here. It should be exporting it to this, which is on send only. So it should be exporting it to the system. Let's get our GregTech sensor card onto this. You have as many of these as you like on a single unit. We'll pop back up, and we will place this card in here, and it'll probably going to tell us it's out of range. Oh, yep, it's still counting. So Or did that already go up to 166? Let's see. We'll just wait for this to tick over and we'll see if this goes up to 167 just as this is going over. I'm a bit worried that the UU matter is being lost somewhere in the system. Oh, there we go, 167. Yep, so we're getting our UU matter, generating it very, very rapidly, as you can see. And that pretty much makes our old matter fabricator. Oh, stupid pig man! Where did you spawn? Where? I don't even understand. Anyway, this kind of makes this matter fabricator setup a little bit defunct, a little bit obsolete. So we are going to be pulling this whole system down. I might actually change this to extract and pull all the stars back out of these. Just for interest's sake, this is the system, I think I showed it in last episode, that is manufacturing nether stars. It keeps, in an ME interface, it keeps all the ingredients available, and the way you make a nether star from a nether star is you use this tome of alkahest, a diamond, 1 nether star, 3 wither skulls, 3 glowing water, which is from the same mod as the tomb, and it creates 2 nether stars, so you get an extra nether star on top of your existing one. And that's just what I've been using to mass produce nether stars. And obviously with the aid of my wither skeleton farm, I can generate tons and tons of wither skulls. If we look in here, I should have, yeah, I've got nearly 1,000 wither skulls. So yeah, that's how I'm powering all these magic converters. So I will, off camera, I'll take all this down. This will all be gone by next episode. We might start to think about putting something else here. Possibly we might set up a bee system here, maybe like the start working on the genetics machines for beekeeping. Everyone seems to be getting into beekeeping right now on the server, so I better follow suit because I don't want to fall behind. Got to keep up with the Joneses. But that's it for today. We'll go back down to the fusion chamber. Ooh. Back down to the fusion chamber, and we'll have a look and make sure everything's, yeah, this is going up, so it's not losing scrap faster than I'm creating it, which is good. This is back to 65 million, so we should see a shut off in a second. Oh no, it went back to 66. Oh, it's trying its best to hold on. Oh, 65.2. Yeah, didn't get back to 66 million. And there we go, it's cut out. So until this builds back up again to 70 million, you can see that's now paused because the fusion reactor is no longer outputting power. This has stopped going up as well. And until that is full, and then here we go, we come back on, we hit 70 million and it comes back on. So until this hits a billion EU, which will probably take quite a few hours, we can actually check it out. It's 800 million divided by 20, 48, divided by 20, divided by 60, divided by 60. About 5 hours it'll take for this IDSU to fill up to capacity, and then the reactor will start to actually, when it hits about 70 million, it will start to balance at about 70 million, and it'll just sit there and continue to feed the matter fabricator at 32,768 EU. Oh, what's up? What's up, my brother? I'm so glad they can't see through this ice, because this would be a disaster. Anyway, he's a bit confused by the fact that there's ice under lava. He's like, duh. What's going on? Why is there ice here? Anyway, really happy with this setup. I really love the look of the whole place. I think it's aesthetically very nice, and it's a sort of an indication that you can actually produce something with great function whilst you know, keeping form at the front of your mind. So it's a lot of people will build with an ethos of function over form, and I prefer to try and get things to look, you know, very neat and tidy at the same time as make them extremely functional, and you know, keep everything nice and clean and neat, and when it needs to be symmetrical, keep it symmetrical. But I'm real happy with this setup. This is going to absolutely push me over the top with UU Matter. So anyway, guys, that's it for this episode. I hope you enjoyed the ep. If you have any questions, just leave a comment. Feel free to ask anything you like. Let's just do that. Yeah, that looks nice. Yeah, have any questions, leave a comment and ask your questions. If you have any other tips that would perhaps make this a little better, and I know there must be some people out there who have a slightly better grasp on what's you know, what's going to work maybe a little bit better than what I've got here. Pretty sure I've got a fairly well streamlined system set up that does its job extremely well. But if you have any tips that you think might help the build go a little more efficiently, let me know. But that's it for today, guys. Until next episode, keep on digging.